Welcome to the Celtic Way. Breaking news live. The team news is out for Celtic versus Lazio, match day 2, Champions League group stage, Group E, a must-win fixture for Celtic. And Ryan, you can see the team down there. We almost got it right, didn't we? Almost got it right.
Yeah, I had a couple of really weird WhatsApps a couple of minutes before the team came out. I was thinking, is Carter Vickers starting? A couple of people said about Carter Vickers, but I was going to say, thankfully, that isn't the case. I'd love to see Carter Vickers in the starting lineup, but you don't want to rush him in too quickly, especially in a game of this magnitude. We've seen what happens before when we rush players back against Italian teams. I look at the case in point of Effie Ambrose in the last 16, about 10 or so years ago. That was a case in point. No, looking at the team, a lot of it's as expected, I would say. I don't know about you. It's all the ones that we seem to predict. The only one we didn't really predict was Yang instead of Palma. It seems as if he's sticking with his man. Must be doing something in training. He didn't. I don't think he took his opportunity on Saturday afternoon. But he must be doing enough in training. Hopefully that can translate onto the biggest stage of them all.
Yep. Now, for those of you, I'll read the team going along the strap line at the bottom. It's Joe Hart, and it's Alistair Johnston at right back, and it's Nat Phillips and Liam Scales in the centre of defence, Greg Taylor at left back, Callum McGregor in the middle of the park, O'Reilly in the middle of the park, Yang and Maeda and Kyogo up front, and the subs are Bain, Morrison, Palmer, Turnbull, Carter Vickers, Iwata, Bernardo. We've ran out of characters, and it's Forrest, Ralston, and Mikey Johnson that make up the team tonight. Yeah, so there we go.
Not like trying to fit everybody in, unfortunately. Yeah. You get the gist of it. We got all the starting lineup and most of the subs.
Yeah. And as we say, we predicted 10 out of 11. Yang preferred over Palmer. Decision that Brendan Rodgers made. So here's hoping that Yang, having been given a nod, can do something special tonight. Ryan, you mentioned 10 years with Effie Ambrose. It's 10 years since Celtic last won a group stage Champions League match. That was 2-1 against Ajax. Can they do it tonight?
I hope so. Yeah. You come to these games more hope than expectancy, but there does feel like a bit of optimism in and around Celtic Park. Even just driving to the game, everybody seems to be in a joyous mood. The big guns are coming back to Celtic Park. It's the Champions League, 8 o'clock. It's been raining today as well. You've got that damp sort of atmosphere. I always associate the Champions League with like the floodlights and the rain and the adverse weather conditions. It's just all these things that I remember watching the Champions League growing up on like ITV, STV, Sky Sports, etc. It's just a bit nostalgic for me, and the fact that it's that sort of weather conditions seems to have cleared up in terms of the rain. That's not to say it might rain later, but yeah, perfect conditions for playing football. The grass will be wet. It should make for a technical game, a really quick game with loads of passes on the deck. Really,
I agree with you in terms of Cameron Carter Vickers, but it's just great to see him back and on the grass,
even just Brendan Rodgers would say,
just in the squad. So I'm looking forward to seeing him coming back, but don't need to risk him. Certainly in a game of this magnitude, wouldn't want to knock his rehabilitation any further back. So good on Cameron Carter Vickers for making the squad, and it's a big boost just to see him back in amongst the first team again, isn't it?
Well, he's our best defender, I would say, by some distance. At least he was last season. Brendan Rodgers hasn't really had the time to work with him as of yet. He's had a couple of games here and there, but then he re-aggravated an injury. Either that or he picked up a new one. I'm not sure exactly if he re-aggravated the old one or picked up a new one. But either way, it's been unlucky for him with regard to the injury front. Doesn't help when Nawrowski's injured as well, which has led us to this sort of emergency scenario where Nat Phillips had to be signed and brought in. It also doesn't help when you've got defenders suspended as well, thanks to red cards. Hopefully no red cards tonight and all 11 men can stay on the pitch and fight for the cause. But yeah, even if it's just in name and if he hasn't called upon tonight, it's absolutely brilliant to see Cameron Carter Vickers back and quoted in a Celtic team. I think he brings a safety sort of blanket or a safety net to proceedings, and I get that same safety net with Alistair Johnston as well. Those are two players on the defensive end that are going to put in a shift for 90 minutes or however long they're on the pitch. if they're taking off, maybe down to injury. Hopefully, no more injuries tonight. But yeah, delighted to see Carter Vickers back, even if it's only on the bench. And if we're if Celtic are bringing him on in the second half to potentially protect a lead, then I've got no doubt he can do the business. But yeah, delighted to see him back.
Yeah, we touched upon it this morning in the morning briefing, and thanks. That's so 120 people joining us live, Ryan. So excellent stuff there. But we're hoping to see, we're willing it to happen, aren't we? Kyogo break his Champions League group stage goal scoring drought. We've willed it to happen, so it's going to happen, Ryan. I'm confident that it will happen.
Yeah, I want it to be like buses and two come along at the same time. I'd love a double on the night, never mind just the one goal. I think Kyogo scores in spurts. Sometimes he'll have a couple of games where he doesn't score, then he'll have a breakout game where he'll score 2 or 3 at the one time. He won't be the only Japanese player in the park, not just Daizen Maeda and Ryo Hatate. Daichi Kamada's playing as well, the boy that used to play for Frankfurt, Japanese international, really good player by all accounts. I know he was getting linked with quite a few clubs in the summer. He ended up going to Lazio. Really good technical midfielder. So yeah, it's definitely a good advert for Japanese football as well. Seeing 3 or 4 players plying their trade on Europe's biggest stage, rather. You're just hoping that Kyogo can break his duck and be an even bigger superstar than he already is. I think this is the one box that he's yet to tick, this Champions League box. It kind of hangs over him, and it's annoying to talk about it because you know how quality a striker he is. It's just he needs a really ugly goal. I'll tell you that he needs just something really ugly to go in. I don't care if it's a deflection, if it hits off him and just goes in out of sheer luck. As long as he can get off the mark, I think it'll make the world of difference going forward for him.
2-1. Hazel Finn says we'll do Celtic fine. Lots of people coming in. Claire Best saying 3-1 to Celtic. Come on, it's just got the feeling of a big game, hasn't it, Ryan? That's the bottom line, isn't it? So I can't wait. An hour exactly to kick off. So the countdown's on, but it really does have the feeling of a massive match for Celtic in the context of this group. We spoke before about when the draw was made, how the home games are going to be crucial to Celtic's qualification chances. Nothing has changed my mind on that. And I think if Celtic can throw themselves back into contention tonight with a win, any kind of win, they'll be in with a shout, won't they? Just give the fans a show, as they say, under the lights. It's at Celtic Park. There is no finer European arena in a midweek night and Champions League night. But we dispense with the tourist stuff. We want Celtic to get down to business and make the atmosphere rocking for all the right reasons. Give the fans something to cheer and shout about, Ryan.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere tonight, just due to the relationship probably between the two clubs, it hasn't been the greatest, especially within the two fan bases. So I think that'll only help the fixture, I would say. I think there's going to be a frosty atmosphere and there'll be an expectancy in the crowd as well for this team to do well. Celtic have recruited, I think, okay for the most part. It's just all about getting these players in and getting this match experience, especially in the big levels, in the highest stage. These are the games tonight for players like Yang, for players like Palma, even Bernardo coming off the bench, and the players that have signed up to long-term deals, such as Hatate, Kyogo, Matt O'Reilly, and Cal McGregor as well. I know he's been good in the past for Celtic in the Champions League. But it's more and more experience. More experience can't hurt. This is the audition process for these players. This is the chance to showcase how good they are. And by getting a scalp, I think it will help everybody involved, whether that be the club going further in Europe, their own personal ambitions going forward, even just a bit more, even just more love from the fans. The Celtic supporters absolutely adore their players. They seem to adore them a bit more when they do something in Europe as well. It seems to be that standard. That's the standard. Players can do it domestically. They can score every week domestically, but they'll be adored more if they score in Europe as well. To coincide with that.
John Flanagan coming in. He's got a good feeling about tonight under the lights in Paradise. Hail, hail, he says. Thank you, John. John was the guy that gave me the loan of the Champions League trophy for the Champions League draw. So, friend of the show. Good man, John. Hope you're well, sir. And Claire Best coming back in. Thought Palmer would have started instead of Yang, to be fair. Yep, we said that as well. We thought he would have started.
Did, yeah.
Yeah. Aero 250. 2-1 Celtic, hashtag Brendan Baugh. There you go. Hazel Finn. Evening, Hazel. How you doing? Another good friend of the show and contributor and commenter. 12th man will make all the difference tonight. Let's do this. Celtic, she's saying, agree with that, Hazel. But yeah, I just think there's something in the air, Ryan. I think there's joy for Celtic tonight. I think there's 3 points to be had. I think Lazio can be gotten at. Don't buy into any of their codology and pre-match stuff that they've got players injured and there's a verbal spat between Sarri and the owner. Don't care about any of that. It's all codology. It's all woe is Lazio. They're the Serie A runners up to Napoli. That's the extent of the team that you're playing tonight. The task at hand. But I got a good feeling about Celtic. Come back to me, as I say, we'll reconvene at some point tonight when we come back on and do the aftermatch stuff. But yep, I've Kyogo to score, feeling good about that. Matt O'Reilly to have an influence, Hatate to have an influence, McGregor to be a steadying influence, and the defence to just tight as a drum, Ryan. And if we can do all that, then we're in with more than a fighting chance of doing this tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just hoping that thing in the air that you're talking about isn't delusion from the fans. At the end of the 90 minutes, I hope we're not coming out of this game thinking, why did we think we could get a result against this side? They're amazing. But, the league table does show. I know you can't look anything into league form because look at last night, look at Lens against Arsenal. Lens are 15th in Ligue 1 and they beat Arsenal, who are, second, third place in the Premier League. These results happen. Form kind of goes out the window when it's Champions League just because you're going up against continental teams, different play styles, different managers, different ways of playing. You're just hoping that Celtic have got to control the controllables on their side. If they can put in a good performance, play for 90 minutes, keep all 11 men on the park, don't do anything silly, stick to the basics unless the basics aren't working and you have to push the boat out a bit. But keep to the basics and keep yourself in the game. They're a strong side, quality side with quality all over the park. But Celtic have got quality too. Maurizio Sarri even said that. He said Celtic are a high quality team, higher quality than the Leicester side that he faced under, or that was managed by Brendan Rodgers when he played them in the Premier League with Chelsea in that lone season he had with Chelsea. So Sarri does acknowledge that that Celtic are a quality team. There's players that can hurt Lazio. Likewise with Lazio with Celtic. It's all about who's going to be the better team on the night. Celtic have got to make the 12-man count, which is the crowd. They've got to keep the crowd on side, and the crowd have got to keep the players on side as well. They've got to keep it going for the 90 minutes. Even if they go down, you don't want the crowd to turn on the players. I'm trying to be careful when I say this because you don't want to say that the fans would be against the players, but the fans have got to be there for 90 minutes for the players. Anything can happen in these games.
Ryan, they came from a goal down in 2019 Europa League. Ryan Christie, Christopher Jullien. So, recent history shows that I know the two teams are vastly different, but that's a similar situation. You go a goal down, but the fans that night were terrific. I was at that match that night, and they were excellent. They were right behind the team the whole time, and it was absolute bedlam when Christopher Jullien scored the last minute. So, yeah, excellent stuff. Now, Aero 250. Do the basics and take our chances, perfectly capable of doing it. I totally agree, Euro 250. As I say, we'll reconvene tonight. As Ryan says, hopefully it's not delusion that we're talking about. But over 200 people joining us live. We thank you so much. We can't do this without you. We want your thoughts as well. And it's
all very exciting.
Big match atmosphere is building. Yeah, without a doubt. You took the words out of my mouth there. Yeah, it's all very exciting. You can't beat Celtic in the Champions League. It's where it's at.
No, there's nothing. Yeah.
Tuesday and Wednesday nights under the lights at Celtic Park. Whoever they're playing, whatever the opposition, I always still fancy them because there are so many fans behind the team. The partisan crowd, that amphitheatre that is in Glasgow's East End. It's just a magical, magical place, and it does things to players. It makes them raise their game. Can also have the same effect on opposition. Many players have spoken about that in the past, but I'm talking about Celtic players. It does special things to Celtic players on nights like tonight, and just get a wee feeling in my water that it could be a special night tonight. And and some mad random person coming in, love that name. If you have confidence, Tony Boy, I have confidence. Yeah, myself and Ryan have been pretty, not overly confident, but quietly confident because I agree with Sarri. We do have players that can hurt them, Lazio, and if our star players turn up, they will hurt Lazio. End of.
Yeah, they're I would already say, the players that Celtic have brought in, such as Matt O'Reilly, Rio Tati, those players for like 1.5, 2.5 million. I already think they're about 10 times their value already, just due to what they've done. And if you just move the decimal point along, then you'll have a rough valuation, maybe a bit more for Matt O'Reilly, I would say, because I think he's worth more than 15 million. I thought the 10 million bid was derisory from Leeds towards the end of the window. They won't. That wouldn't get one of Matt O'Reilly's limbs now. On the new deal that he's on, if and when he does move, and I don't want to talk about players leaving when we're so close to a Champions League game, but if and when he does go, he'll go for a lot more than the 10 million that was quoted. I think that's a guarantee. It's up to these players to just make themselves heroes. Players, there's so many players that go back. When Yama talks about his goal against Barcelona, Tony Watt talks about his goal against Barcelona, all these, Henrik Larsson with his numerous goals against top European opposition, it makes you a hero. These games in Europe, whether it be in the Champions League, Europa League, or in the new Conference League, if Celtic ever play in that, I know they played against Bodo Glimt, but big goals in these competitions make you a hero, and they stand the test of time in history. It's up to this new generation of players to become heroes on the European stage. They're well capable of it. It's just going out and doing it.
Yeah, I think Matt O'Reilly will take this stage by the scruff of the neck. He was very good in Holland until it all
He's
went
taken every stage so far this season.
so far,
that would just be consistent. It would just be consistent.
Alan Robertson's coming in. The like button pressed. That's what we love to hear, Alan. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Cool Daddy coming in. 1-0 Celtic, a tough physical battle. I'll take that. Aero 250. The roar of Celtic score is what he's here for. Indeed, Alan Robertson coming back in. Fine margins tonight. Celtic take their chances. Correct. Kieran Nolan, dig in tonight and get the 3 points. Couldn't say any better myself. And Cool Daddy back in. If we score, Celtic score, the stadium will collapse. You just get that feel that Celtic supporters are genuinely excited. They are, to quote the only an excuse Paul McStay figure, there's a buzz about the place, isn't there, Ryan? There's just something about tonight that even more so than when they went to Rotterdam to play Feyenoord. It's Lazio, a Serie A side. There's something big here about to happen. An early goal would be lovely, says Bush 79. Hail, I think the double H stands for. So, yeah, all good, Ryan. On you go, sir.
If you can get an early goal and sort of feed off what the crowd has given you so far in the game, and it's absolutely massive in terms of the makeup of the rest of the game, because already the Lazio team will be on the back foot. I don't want to go into like sort of stereotypes or anything like that, but sometimes these teams don't travel as well to away grounds, so you're just hoping that would be the case again. Celtic Park, it's all about, we've spoken about this during the week. Celtic Park's a fortress. It should be, or it was a fortress. It should be a fortress, and hopefully that stays the same.
Yeah. 2-1 Celtic, says Caroline McEwen. Some mad random person coming in. He's sharing your optimism. Kyogo for 2 goals tonight, Ryan. He's going with a bus analogy when one comes along and 2 come along at the same time. So, yep, lots of optimism abounding.
Sorry, guys, my mate has just went parked right next to me, so he's wondering where I'm going or what I'm doing. Sorry if anyone can see me pointing out with my screen, but I've got a popular spot here just outside this Celtic Park.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Lee Snedden coming in. Celtic won't have a better chance for a long overdue Champions League home win. Agree totally. Alan Robertson, a night for cool heads without a doubt. Brian Roberts, new Lions can roll tonight. Lots of people coming in. Lots of contributors that we see in the daily morning briefing. So thanks, guys, for joining us. 220 people. That's brilliant. Live. Bush 79, he's got a feeling they get a few. There's confidence and optimism.
What way?
And Rebel Double X scored, a few goals conceded. Rebel Double X got a good feeling about tonight. 2-0. And Jim Dolan, do you think if Celtic win, will the rest of the teams at Celtic face be more wary of Celtic? I think they will, Jim. I think he's got a chance tonight. If you do win, you send out a wee message to the rest that we are not possibly the team that you thought. I think will surprise a lot of people. I thought we'll surprise a lot of people in Feyenoord, certainly in the first half. And as I say, things just went a wee bit awry either side of half time, and the game got away from Celtic, but they were well in it for long periods, and they dug in with the 9 men, and they didn't capitulate or collapse. So I've got every faith in the manager tonight, Ryan, that he's been setting up the team to play a certain way. And hail 2-1, the Hoops, says Paul Archibald. 3-1 for the Hoops, says Norman Hegney. 3-1, says Bush. So honestly, it's everybody. McGinlay was pointing at his mate, says Alan Robertson, he was dancing. There you go.
I'll dance in the post show if there's a good result tonight. It'll be dancing in the dark because it looks like it's pitch black.
Yeah, exactly. There's a promise, guys. Ryan McGinlay promising to dance on the aftermatch pod should Celtic win. But there you have it. But no, 225 people, thank you. We appreciate it. We always do. We like to gather your thoughts as well and see what you're thinking. And some random person. Hopefully we're all dancing in the dark after tonight. Indeed. Yeah. Steve Conley, 2-0 the Hoops win. Ryan, there's a lot of optimism abounding here. So it's good to hear. And it's good that that's going to translate with the fans on inside the ground. I think they really do feel that something special could happen tonight.
Yeah, hopefully that translates onto the pitch, and the good feeling from outside the ground then goes inside the ground and onto the pitch for the players. Celtic Park, as I've said before, it needs to be a fortress. Celtic have got to take these home games seriously and try and get maximum points from every game at home, regardless of the opposition. I mean the same for Atletico Madrid as well. They need to be winning games at home.
Yeah.
If it so happens they get a draw, and a draw is a good result, then so be it. But they've got to be going into these games thinking that they can hurt the opponent and take points off them, because otherwise, what's the point? Celtic are just taking part. I wanted to compete, and get points and move on in Europe. If they're going to, if third place is going to be the aim in this group, I don't know what the score is on the other game just now. I saw that Feyenoord were 1-0 up.
3-2, I think, to Atletico Madrid. I think somebody's put that in the comment section there. David Kerr came in. Is it a must-win, lads? We said that this morning, David. It's a must-win.
Yeah.
I mean, someone said every game that Celtic plays a must-win. Get that argument as well, but I'm nailing my colours to the mast. It's certainly a must-win for Celtic in terms of qualification purposes from this group, because it's going to be a cutthroat group, I think. And if Celtic can get off to a flyer in terms of that first home win under their belts, the confidence surge that they'll get from that, the shot in the arm that they'll get from it, both domestically and in Europe, will be fantastic. Chris Murray, 2-1 Celtic, on the Hoops, he's saying, some mad random person, European football after Christmas is what Celtic must obtain. Couldn't agree more. Simon Fideni, 3-2 Madrid, 70 minutes gone. So, and Brian McGarry saying he takes every player on it, that includes Hatate, needs to step up this time in order to do it. Spoken about that, we need Celtic's big game players to turn up, Ryan. The ones that Sarri says can hurt them. If they turn up and do hurt them, then that's what you want. Jerry O'Rourke, anyone will do. Alan Robertson, 2-1 Celtic. So lots of 2-1s, 3-1s, and people just saying, just win the game.
Yeah, just win. Yeah, win at all costs.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about goal difference at this point, Just win. As long as Celtic score more goals than the opponent, then I'll take that all day long. As long as Celtic make it competitive, they're in the game right till the very end. And if they can sneak something, absolutely brilliant. But they've just got to keep themselves right. David
Kerr, true. He's replying to is it a must-win? True. Celtic should be looking to win them all, but especially at home. Home game's going to be crucial in this game, in this group. John Boy, 1888. Tony, we're finishing third, and they're off to Dublin because he's dreamt it. There you go. Europa League final in Dublin this year, isn't it, Ryan, I believe?
Sounds good to me, Tony. I don't know about you. If that's the case.
Europa League or is it conference?
Europa League it is. It's Europa League.
Yeah, Europa League in Dublin,
League.
yeah. Yes.
I want to be in the Champions League final, but if the Europa League final is where they're headed, then I'm not going to complain too much.
I would aim high and say the Champions League.
I'm just taking a leaf out of your book, Tony. I'm just taking
a leaf out of your book. Of course. We've got to aim high. Callum McDougall, no red cards. No red cards, Callum. Vital that there's no red cards. Absolutely vital. And Celtic need to. But I think it wasn't really indiscipline, was it? That the two red cards.
I think it was just clumsiness for both of them, to be honest. Especially the first one. The first one was a lack of experience at the top level when a striker is going to be quite like a fox in the box. You know that sort of
Yeah.
saying, a fox in the box. He made the most out of something that was very, very minuscule. It was one of those ones where the referee didn't have really a decision to make. You know,
Yeah.
he hits him in the face, and you're gonna get a booking for that anywhere else in the pitch, aren't you? So, and you wouldn't overturn it with VAR, and then, you know, the Odin Thiago home one, he doesn't mean any malice by it. He's just trying to make his authority felt. He just goes right through him and studs him. Red card would be screaming for it the other way about, so I don't think he has any complaints. Probably
Stephen,
Lagerbielke would have been more likely to play tonight than Odin home, that's for sure. But it's disappointing for him that he can't make his impact in Europe as well, Odin home.
Yeah. We do have two O'Reillys in the team going along the bottom. Yeah, it's Haggerty that should be there, but hey, when you're scrambling to get the briefing on and you're cutting and pasting and stuff like that, it's
See
okay.
that?
You knew what we meant, you know what I mean? So there you go. Scott McGill coming in. Celtic will put on a show tonight. Indeed, Scott, I couldn't agree more. And clumsiness and naivety, says Alan Robertson with the 2 red cards, talking about the final game. And 2-1 tonight, says Scott, he's given his and Tam Mack saying just got his bag of cans delivered. There you go. Right, everybody's just telling us what they're up to tonight. As I say, nearly 250 people joining us live before. Hope they are enjoying the coverage. Yep. And somebody's telling you, Ryan, stick a sheriff's badge in that meter because it's getting darker by the minute. There you go. Maybe a bit before your time, Ryan, 50 pences in meters and stuff like that, eh?
I know what the meters are, yeah. But yeah, I might. There's free parking here, thankfully. So, you know, here as long as I need to be.
Yeah, it's 7:20, Ryan. We've been on for nearly 27 minutes. You want to go and get yourself set up and head in, and we shall reconvene.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'll let you do
yeah,
that.
Well, we'll catch up with everybody after the game. Fingers crossed to get a victory. I need to go and change that team quickly because I can still edit it. I've got that hour to change it, so I'm going to change. I'm going to quickly change. See that? I'm so used to writing O'Reilly as the number 10 in the team. That's muscle memory. The fact that he's moved a bit deeper for Europe.
We know what we meant, and Steve Murray knew what he meant as well. He was just having a wee Josh, methinks.
They always keep us right. Keep us right in those comments.
They do it because they're a knowledgeable bunch, Ryan. That's the whole point. You know what I mean? They tune in every day and hear your old Dan, young apprentice speaking, and they enjoy it. And we hope you enjoy it. But we give them their say as well. And if they're digging us up for stuff like that, then so be it. There's no right or wrong. We welcome everybody in the Celtic Way website. We're a broad church, aren't we, Ryan? Can we get away with saying that? We're a broad church. Yeah?
I think so.
Yeah. But there you go. Tam Mack coming in, Ryan, and saying, great show, guys. Nice warm-up. Great warm-up. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Alan Robertson saying, you've got more excuses than Michael Beale for that kind of typo, Ryan. There you go. They just don't let you away with anything, Ryan, you know. Got to be perfection. You know, got to be a perfectionist. I'm still living proof that you can fool all the people all the time, Ryan. Still doing it, but there you go. Young man, you're approaching half an hour, 28 minutes. You go and get yourself ready and enjoy the game. Come back and tell us all about the atmosphere, and we shall reconvene. All right, but guys, enjoy it. Have a brilliant. It's always result dependent. Here's hoping that optimism can continue tonight and Celtic get their first win in 10 years, Ryan. Champions League group stage win for the first time in 10 years. There you go. All right, son. Take it easy. Have a good one.
Cheers, guys.